Hi, my name is Ka. If you like the artwork that I make in this video, I also have commissions available. I do custom characters, OCs, and more. When you commission me, you're not only helping me, but you're also helping out my son, Anino. If you do choose to commission me, you'll be helping us find a better place to live. The link to my commissions form and guidelines are in the description. Now let's get into the video. If you've been following or watching my videos for a little while now, you may be a little bit surprised for me to share that I've actually started off as a traditional artist versus a digital one. And if you've seen any of my earlier videos, maybe you do know, but yes, I've only been doing digital art and it wasn't very consistent since maybe 2019. And I was doing traditional art since 2004 until 2019. It was just accessible to me, so that's why it was like that. But anyway, I would say how I even, what's the word? Oh my God, I had it just a moment ago. Transitioned, yes. How I transitioned from traditional to digital was not that hard. At least it was a little bit more comforting than going head first into digital without, a little period of time where I was still doing traditional and then digital. So for any of y'all that want to get into digital, or if you wanted to dabble a little bit more or hone in on your skills, it is possible when you've started off as traditional. And this is the way that I did it. So, first time again that I've tried digital, technically it was 2018 in one of my classes, digital art. We had this really basic tablet that had no screen. It just had a pen with 0 pressure sensitivity and the class computers. So we had access to Photoshop at the time, and I would just use it to doodle, honestly. Basically, I had to train myself to draw without looking down at what I'm drawing. You know what I mean? For all my traditional, artists that draw, typically you look down at the thing that you are creating, right? Or maybe if you don't have it directly down, on a table, if you have it propped up, on a board or something, you're still looking at directly what you are drawing. But for digital, when I first started, I didn't have any of that. Basically, I had to train my hand and eye coordination, which is really bad, to look at the pen on the screen, the computer screen, and not what I'm actually doing down below with the no screen tablet. And that was really hard, if I'm being completely honest. It was frustrating. If I have any files that were from that time, I'll put it in here if I can find it, although that will be really hard to find, I feel, because it was all saved on a school account. So I don't know if I have that. But anyway, when I left that class, in 2019, the summer going into college for the first time, I was gifted a desktop to work on, and the Christmas prior to 2019, I was also gifted a Wacom Intuos tablet, which was similar to what I used in school. It was a no screen tablet with a pen, but it had pressure sensitivity this time, which one is really great once you know how to work with it, but it's a pain in the butt when you are completely new to it and you're like, why the heck is it doing all this? Why is it so sensitive? Or this is not what my lines to look like. It's a whole frustrating process in itself to get used to the pressure sensitivity and how you make it work for you. But I didn't use Photoshop when I did this from home. I didn't work at the time, so I couldn't necessarily afford to do Photoshop. So the program I recommend for beginning that's completely free is Krita. If you want something very similar to Photoshop regarding the tools that are used and filters and all that good stuff, yes, I definitely recommend Krita, and I'll always stand behind that. The only thing is, if you're making things through Krita that you want to eventually upload or print, just keep in mind you might have to also put your finished piece into another software that will adjust the colors to how you originally wanted them to be. Just because from my experience, Krita has always dulled the colors that I chose once I uploaded the file to somewhere else. On screen, on the Krita screen, it looks fine, but the file itself will look a little bit dull. So that's just something that I recommend and keeping an eye out for. Do not use the finalized product straight from Krita if there are some colors that you do want to be a little bit more vibrant. So yeah. Anyway, drawing strictly on that computer, like tablet, was still, again, a pain. So one thing that I did that made my life a little bit easier, a little bit more comforting transitioning into digital, is I would sketch on an actual sketchbook first. And I think I learned this method through Jacqueline de Leon. I forget, actually. It's been so long since I've watched like a tutorial regarding that type of stuff. But I remember I would take a picture, since I don't have a scanner. I would take a picture on my phone of my sketch that I did in my sketchbook. I would upload it to my computer and then add it as like a file on the program that I was using. So I would already have the sketch pretty much done without me drawing on the whatchamacallit, on the program. And while, yeah, it's kind of a way for you to not necessarily learn how to do it, it's just for comfort, honestly. Like, I was so frustrated trying to get the sketch to look like how I want it to look. And just doing that, one, made the process a lot faster. But two, it made me more inclined to use the digital platform, just because one part's already done and I feel a little bit more motivated to do the rest in digital versus rendering and finishing something on the sketchbook itself. So I would do that, and just I lowered the opacity of the original sketch sometimes, or I would just incorporate, like, say, I would have the sketch. And I think I learned this from Loish years ago. Because sometimes if I try to trace over a sketch digitally, I lose a lot of liveliness that I got from the sketch. And I believe the thing that I learned was to just draw with the sketch. So how I did that digitally, I would, take the photo of my sketch and I will put it in black and white. So if you have threshold, which Krita does, you would do that and adjust the lightness and darkness of the sketch of what you want to keep and what you want to take away. And basically I would delete the white part of the sketch, because typically I used to start with like a white screen just because I was used to that. But I'm gonna be honest, like nowadays I don't like using white screens. I use more of a gray, just because it's a little bit less intimidating when I start an actual sketch, but to each their own. Anyway, so I would delete the white part from the sketch, and so I would just have the PNG of the sketch to work with. And I would manually erase and sketch in other lines that I felt would be more fitting. And that's basically how I learned how to start drawing digitally. Like, yes, it may be best for some people to just go head first and just digitally do everything. But for me, that's been traditional for so long, and I find a lot of comfort in it. And I wasn't really that confident in digital. That's just the way that I went about it. And if you had the same struggles that I have, I definitely recommend that you do that too. And let me know what you thought of that process, because eventually it got to the point where I was really comfortable with drawing without the sketch anymore. I don't remember what happened for me to start getting more comfortable with that. I think it was in either 2020 or 2021 when I was really starting to get into sketches, because I don't recall me drawing something with pen in a long time. But it also helps if you do have like an actual tablet, like say an iPad, and then you draw on there. That is so much easier a lot easier way to go about starting digital art to me than if you were to go have like a Wacom Intuos and a screen, like a computer screen. Just because it feels a lot more natural when you've been doing traditional for so long. You already have something like in your hands and you're sketching, you're looking at it. So that's like my preferred way. I love to sketch with my tablet or my iPad. Although I do know for more quote unquote professional work, I will have to eventually start using the computer with the tablet. But I will also say you can also upgrade once you have the funds, if you've been saving or if you've been meaning to get a better drawing display or tablet, you can. And specifically if you want one with a screen, you're golden. But yes, that will be it for this video. Sorry, I got lost. That's basically how I started getting into digital art, and I haven't really stopped since. It's my go-to method just because one, I don't like to waste a lot of stuff. So for example, using so many pens, and yes, I can use sketchbooks because I was gifted so many in my time so far that are still blank. So I could still do that, but with like say like a tablet or a computer, I feel like I could just keep drawing. And again, with like the tablet, I can take that everywhere. It's lightweight, it's not bulky, I don't have to worry about pens falling out. So that's just my preference, but you let me know what you think. Please comment down below what type of art you do if you are an artist, and what made you decide to get into digital art if you're thinking of trying it. And I will see y'all next time. Take care.